Hello, I'm Kat Pittikelly. This is Micah Bestick. We are registered dietitians with St. Vincent's Weight Loss Services. And for this October 2018, we're going to be looking at some of our favorite fall recipes, which for me, when I think of fall, two things immediately come to mind: football and pumpkin spice everything. But many of those classic American football dishes, as well as our pumpkin spice beverages and foods, can be pretty high calorie. So we wanted to look at how we can modify some of those recipes to make them more healthful.
So we picked two common ones, pumpkin spice bread and a pumpkin spice latte. We put the websites up here for where we found the recipes. So the pumpkin bread came from All Recipes, and then the latte came from Food Network. And we just kind of wanted to show you how some simple substitutions could save you a ton of calories. In this next slide, instead of using 1.5 cups of vegetable oil in the pumpkin bread recipe, you can switch it out for 1.5 cups of unsweetened applesauce and take a look at how much you'll save. 2,700 calories, 42 grams of fat, and then of that 16 grams of saturated fat. So that's a big difference in not sacrificing the taste and the enjoyment of the pumpkin spice. Also, for like the latte, we could do, instead of using whole milk, you could switch it out for skim milk. And instead of using sugar, so the recipe called for a tablespoon of sugar, you could use a teaspoon of stevia, which is it's from a plant. It's more of a natural sweetener. You've probably seen it in the supermarket, or you may have seen the brand Stevia, Truvia, that sells stevia. And if you do this swap for this latte, you'll save 120 calories, 8 grams of total fat, and 5 grams of saturated fat.
And I know one of our family favorite things to do in the fall is to watch football together. In fact, if you ask my 2-year-old what a Jaguar says, she will correctly answer, "Go Jags." But with many of those football recipes, they tend to be really high fat, high calorie recipes. So a couple that we have modified over the years would be to do some turkey sliders, so a smaller portion size, and serving them on a whole wheat bun. Some white chicken chili that I like to just make in the crock pot, and that way it's ready with little to no preparation time. And then maybe some veggies with low-fat dip, which we should also bring up the point, of course, you don't want to be mindlessly eating in front of the TV, so maybe trying to plan the meal around halftime or a time when you don't mind being away from the TV.
And then just this slide is a nice summary of other modifications that you can do to recipes. If a recipe calls for white flour, you can replace half of that white flour with wheat flour, add in some more vitamins and fiber there. You can always use egg whites instead of eggs. And I like the one on the bottom here, this heavy cream. Instead of using that, you can use silken tofu, because the tofu will come in different sort of textures or forms at the grocery store. A lot of times when I mention tofu in class, I get the ew, tofu, but it will take on the flavor of what you are cooking it with. So don't shoot it down until you give it a shot.
So tune in next month, November, for Diabetes Awareness Month. We'll be looking at how you can eat out at some local restaurants and still make wise choices.